ladies, we're working today on our May flowers, and make sure you have out some of the supplies. You're going to need your adhesive, your Zig Writer, white paint, the Sunburst glitter glue, chalk, and then also your Q-tips, a cotton ball, and a toothpick. So once you guys have all those out, we're going to get started. So we're going to start first with the biggest flower, which is going to be the darkest purple one. It is 4 pieces that we're going to need. And I'm going to start with the biggest one. And the thin end of my Zig Writer. And we're going to start by going around wherever your pen stops. You're just going to add a few dots. And then 2 little marks on the inside and a few dots just to define the petals. And we're going to do that all the way around rather quickly. Okay, so that's going to be 1. Let's go back with our fat end. I like to add a few of the random dots. A lot of this is going to get covered up, so you don't have to go too crazy. And then we're going to do the same thing with the next one. That's pretty much the exact same shape, just a little bit smaller. Those are looking good. This takes a little bit of time here. Just take your time, be patient. All we got right now is time. Half of us aren't working. All right, fat end. So since we're not working, I expect all you guys to be caught up on your calendar club and watching the videos. Pretty soon they will be on a YouTube channel. Chris has me set up with one. I just got to load them on there. We're going to do the same thing with these 2 smaller petals. Just make the shape, add your dots, and then you're going to add the fat ends. There we go. And then this one, we're going to do a circle in the center because it's going to be our last layer. It's going to be the one that we're going to see. So a little circle in the center with some extra dots, and then make your petals. Okay, that looks good to me. So I'm gonna put the pin back together. All right, so we're gonna take our biggest flower and I'm gonna put a little bit of adhesive on the inside. If you wanna do the chalking prior, you can. I choose not to. And you're just gonna make sure that you're offsetting it so that you don't have big white lines in between. Then you're gonna do the same thing with the other 2 layers. One more, and only put the adhesive in the center because we're going to fluff them up and give them some dimension. All right, so now for the chalk. We're going to use 3 different colors. We're going to use one of your darkest purples, whatever it is, and then we're also going to use black, and we're going to use red. So I've got I'm going to go around with the purple first, and I'm doing the lines that I drew, and then just a little bit on the edges to give them a little bit darker look. And just do that quickly. This isn't something where you're going around every single thing. Quick, quick, quick. Looks much more, you know, intentional when you do that. All right, let's just clean that off for a second. And then I'm going to grab the other end of the toothpick and I'm going to do black. And I'm really only putting the black in between. I might not have put enough adhesive on this one because it seems to be sliding. Okay, so there we go. So I'm really putting the black in between where the petals are, like a shadow, a different definition, and then where I put those two lines and right in the center. So just a little, and you can go soften that back up with your Q-tip. And then we're gonna do a little bit of red, and that's just gonna be kind of on the ends. And not every single one. So I think like that is pretty good. Just give it a little bit of different color. And then last but not least is yellow. We're gonna get that yellow on there real fuzzy, and we're gonna go right in the center. And then just, that is it. Now from here for the flower, you're going to give it some dimension by just bending those petals. And I know it's going to be in a book, it might flatten out slightly, but it'll still have a shape if you give it that little bit of a bend. So each individual petal, kind of manipulate. And if you were putting this in a shadow box, you know, go for it. Really have those petals lots of definition, but I'm not. So I'm going to flatten it out just a smidge. And then that's good, and I won't need as many pop dots. So from there, let's just set this aside and let's do all of our chalking and all of our zig writer for the rest of the flowers. Now this one is another one where I'm making the stem black and then I'm going into the flower. So we're gonna start with that. We're gonna color the purple, a light purple stem black with our zig writer. And you're gonna pull it up onto the flower with your fat end. Make sure you got a piece of scrap paper down because they're thin. Okay, so let me just get rid of this so you can kind of see what I did. There we go. That's perfect. Now we're going to use the thick end again, and we're going to put little dots, 3 or 4 of them, right in that V of these little heart-shaped flowers. Just kind of cumulative together, dotting right in that V, that arch. And then from there, I will use the thin end and trace around and do some small dots just like we always do. Oh, looks like I forgot to do some fat ones right there. So I'm going to take care of that. Okay, then I'm going to do a couple fat dots. Oh, look at, I'm missing all kinds of stuff here. Let's do all of the lines with the small dots and then the fat dots. Perfect. Okay. From there, let's go ahead and do our chalk. And on this one, I'm going to be using a purpley blue color and black and also yellow. So a purpley blue, whatever you've got closest but darkest to these, we're going to do that right towards that black stem. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to add a little bit of black, kind of in the same area, but more on the sides of it. I really like to add black to most of this. Gives it, you know, definition and a shadow to it. Okay, and then last but not least, we're gonna go back with that yellow, and we're gonna do it right where we put all those big dots. Just a nice little circle of yellow. Okay, and then from there, we're gonna clean it up. And that is going to be our little purpley leaf. So let's set that aside. And we're gonna do the green leaves that we have here and then our yellow flower. Okay, so on these ones, this is just tracing, dotting, and dashing, just like we've been doing for the last 4 months. And then giving it like a line in the center. Try to be real soft and flowy. Most of the time it's best to move your paper instead of your hand. All right, then we're gonna go over with the fat end. Perfect. Let's set that aside and do the other one, and then we'll get our chalk. These are all going to be tucked in, so a little mess like that's not a big deal. But if you don't like it, just add the dotting there. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going to be using a dark green and a black on this one. So a medium or a dark green. And we're going to do it heavy on one side. We're going to go down the center where we put that veining. And then we're going to fill in that one side. I'm going to do that on all of them. I'm not sure, but there we go. That looks good. All right, and then I'm going to grab the black and I'm putting it on the tip and right on the opposite side of that green. Perfect. Now let's clean them up. Soften it up by using your cotton ball. And I love that. That looks great. Okay, so set those aside and let's do our last one. And then we'll put them all together and we'll do glitter and we'll do white paint. So here we go. Here's our last flower. And when I started this one, I take that little brown center like a black-eyed Susan and I put it in there. And then I'm going to take my thin end, trace each petal, add some dots as we go. All right, and then we're going to add some little wispy lines, a center with dotting, and then we're going to go back with our heavy dot. I always like to do it heavy on one side like a shadow. Okay, that looks good with the black. Now let's do our leaf. So with the leaf, we're just going to trace it. And then we're going to do two little lines towards the bottom. Perfect. Let's put one there. I feel like it needed it. Now on this one, I'm using a really light green, a bright one if you have it, just kind of in the center there. And then I'm going back with the black, right where I put those other lines. And I'm gonna clean that right off. So it's got like a little highlight with that darkness. And then for the sunflower, I'm gonna use my brightest yellow, and I'm gonna give it a circular highlight right on the petals, give them some definition. I'm gonna go back with the black and just do close to where my little wispy lines were. And then last but not least, I'm gonna take white and I'll put a little line of white in it as a highlight, and then go back and soften that up. The white disappeared, so I'm gonna do it one more time without brushing it off. Okay, more like that. Okay, now for assembly. Let's assemble them so that you guys can see how we're putting them together. All right, so I'm just gonna flip that over, put a little adhesive, and then we've got our yellow flower. I'm gonna glue these guys down because if I don't and I go to do that white paint and stuff, they normally move and make a big mess. So just a little glue. And then somebody will end up getting my sample because my layouts are done, which is always fun. Just tuck them in there. Let's bring this yellow one around. And then on this one, on part of the layouts, I actually cut pieces of it off. So you'll see that on the leftover. You're gonna get one whole one, and then you're gonna be able to cut it up to do it on the other one. We can just tuck that in there. Look how beautiful that is. I love it. All right, let's grab our white paint out. And we're almost finished for today. All right, I've got my white paint. I'm gonna put my centers, dots in the centers, and then some other ones coming off of the petals. Just some fun highlights. Good enough. Now on this one, I'm gonna do a lot more, almost on top of where I put that white chalk. And that looks good there. And then once you've got that done, you're gonna grab your yellow glitter, which is sunset, or sunburst, sorry. And we're gonna do right at the tip of these flowers, just dots, right where we put that black and yellow. All we're doing is layering and highlighting with our glitter and our chalk. And then you should wait for yours to dry, but it's a video, so I'm not waiting. You're gonna do the inside quite a bit. And then for the outside, we're just gonna kind of go along some of the petal edges on this purple one. And that is it. Maybe a couple in here just because I feel like it. Okay, ladies. So as soon as that dries, you've got all your flowers ready. I would assemble your whole page and then do the white paint and your glitter glue, okay? You guys have a great day. Thanks.